Sometimes the best clues aren't hidden in flashy boxes and big promises, and in the modest lines of old notebooks. In the notebook of a Soviet endocrinologist, doctor accustomed to relying on observations and simple solutions, one phrase was repeated in red pencil: baked onion on an empty stomach. Not a sensation, not a miracle medicine, and household understandable accessible step, which a person can afford every day, without changing life beyond recognition. Today we will discuss this in a calm voice. Why onions? Why baked? What is valuable in it from a nutritional point of view? Who is this method suitable for? Who needs to talk to a doctor? And how to integrate this practice so that it becomes more than a one-time event, but a small, stable habit. We do not replace therapy and do not promise the impossible. We bring common sense back to the kitchen and explain how simple foods help your heart and blood sugar as part of a larger plan. Why simple foods were valued by old-school doctors. In the middle of the last century, doctors did not have dozens of dietary supplements. No magic complexes. There were observations, a lot of work patients, who were tired of complex schemes and kitchen where half of the success was decided. In those conditions, decisions were especially valued, which can be maintained for a long time. Regular products, understandable rituals, clear explanations. The tips didn't end up in notebooks for the sake of a beautiful legend and because people came back and said, "It's easier to live this way, this is how I cope." Baked onions are just one of those. It's inexpensive. It's easy to prepare. It is better tolerated than raw, and it can be eaten regularly. If this step evens out the morning a little, reduces cravings for sweets, and helps you have a balanced breakfast, this is already a contribution, small but repeatable, and therefore significant. Writing in red is not a cry, and pay attention. This may work, precisely because what's simple? Onions under a microscope. What is valuable in it from a nutritional point of view? We know onions by their smell and tears. Behind them are hidden sulfur-containing compounds, volatile substances which give the sharpness. They actively interact with mucous membranes, can irritate them when raw, but at the same time it is precisely this authenticity that makes the bao interesting. Sulfur-containing components participate in antioxidant defense reactions, affect enzymes, and some of their effects are associated with supporting normal microcirculation. The outer layers and skins of onions are particularly rich in the IE or flavonoid quercetin, which is favored by vascular health researchers for its antioxidant and membrane-stabilizing properties. It's not a shield translated from Russian to English. www.onlinedoctranslator.com against all troubles, and a brick in the body's long fight against oxidative stress. Onions themselves contain soluble fiber and fructans, which are prebiotics, that is, food for friendly intestinal microbiota. Balanced microbiota, in turn, associated with more predictable blood sugar levels and better tissue sensitivity to insulin, because some of its waste products affect glucose and lipid metabolism. There is a little vitamin in the onion C. There are minerals, including traces of chromium. Chromium is often thought of in the context of carbohydrate metabolism. There is little of it in real food. The effect is moderate, but including a variety of micronutrient sources is always a plus. It is important to repeat, onion is food, not a pill. Its power is not in the immediate effect, and in that it helps to establish a nutritional background, a little more antioxidants, a little more prebiotics, a little less empty calories, day after day. Why baked onions? Many people stop eating onions at exactly that moment, when it could be useful. For heartburn, gravity, bloating after a salad with raw onions, a dinner with strong spices and fresh onions, and the night is ruined. The baked version solves several problems at once. First, gentle baking at a moderate temperature calms down aggressive volatile compounds. The smell softens, the sharpness goes away. Second, the onion partially loses water. The taste becomes rich and slightly sweet. This is not added sugar and the caramelization of natural sugars in the onion itself. Third, the husk plays the role of a jacket. It holds the juices, protects the upper layers, rich in quercetin. Because of this, baked onions are often better tolerated by people with sensitive stomachs and reflux. And, finally, an important psychological moment. Pleasant taste and absence of consequences increase the chance that a person will actually eat onions regularly and not on holidays. Yes, when overheated, part of the vitamin C is lost, and if you overcook the onion until it turns brown, there will be no benefit. That's why we talk about soft warmth and not burn to embers. It's not about heroism and about stability. 3 vectors of benefit for high sugar. When we talk that baked onions hit sugar in 3 directions, this is not about instant biochemistry and about the logic of daily habits and their impact on the body. The first vector is tissue sensitivity to insulin. It decreases with chronic overeating. Excess weight, lack of movement, and imbalance of intestinal microbiota. Prebiotics from vegetables, including onions, part of the recovery kit. They don't fix the receptors themselves, but they help the microbiota, and that one in turn affects exchange. In practice, this feels like a more consistent feeling of satiety and less craving for quick sweets. Who has it? Then the effect is more noticeable. Who has then qui eater? But this is precisely about the nutrition background, which changes gradually. The second vector is a breathing space for the pancreas. Onion alone won't make beta cells work differently, but the morning with a baked onion and then with a flat breakfast, protein, vegetables, whole grains, reduces sudden sugar surges. When there are fewer peaks, the pancreas does not work as a siren, and during the day, a person can more easily maintain a stable eating rhythm. The value is not in that what onions heal, and in that it makes it easier to take the right next step. The third vector is vascular support. With prolonged high sugar levels, the inner lining of blood vessels suffers. Oxidative stress and low-grade inflammation increase. Antioxidants like quercetin are not a fire engine, but fire alarms. They help the body to extinguish harmful reactions in a timely manner. In the long term, this is part of the protection of the small blood vessels in the eyes. Kidneys, nerves. We speak carefully, helps, supports, as part of the diet. It's fair and safe. How to choose and prepare accurate, safe technology. Choose a dense, medium-sized onion without sprouts, soft spots, and a damp smell. Rinse under running water if necessary. Gently wipe with a soft brush. Don't remove the husk. It's underneath that the flavonoids are concentrated, and the jacket itself will retain the juices during baking. Cut the onion crosswise into 2 equal halves. Place them cut side up on a small baking sheet or in a ceramic dish. Do not grease or sprinkle with anything. Butter will add extra fat. Salt on an empty stomach can worsen tolerance. Spices will create a risk of heartburn. All this is unnecessary. Preheat oven to 180 degrees and put the form on 30 dr 40 minutes. Don't rely on a strict time and on readiness. The pulp should become soft, translucent. The aroma is warm and sweetish. The knife goes in without effort, like butter. Get it out, let it cool until it's nice and warm. The other half will be useful tomorrow. Cover and put in the refrigerator. Important: do not brown the onion until dark brown crust. Do not bake at a high temperature, faster. Don't turn the dish into a caramel crust. The goal is not the restaurant effect, but good quality, soft texture without unnecessary frying reactions. How to take the classic option is half a baked onion in the morning on an empty stomach, 30 to 40 minutes before breakfast, with a small spoon straight from the cup of the husk. Don't drink it right away. Let the taste and warmth wake up your stomach. Gentle option for a sensitive gastrointestinal tract is to start with a few warm sips of water. Eat half an onion. Wait 15 to 20 minutes and only then have breakfast. Well, 30 days in a row without missing any days, then a break 2 to 3 weeks. Then you can return to practice if it suits you, but it is better to discuss the duration with your doctor in the context of your tests and therapy. Another option for those who wakes up with a weak appetite: eat a quarter of an onion in the morning and a quarter in the afternoon for 20–30 minutes before lunch. This way the load on the stomach is minimal and the regularity remains. If you find it easier to do your routine in the evening, move it to an early dinner. But avoid taking it right before bed. Insensitive people, this may increase heartburn, who definitely needs to talk to a doctor before starting people. Taking insulin or medications capable of causing hypoglycemia. Those who is on anticoagulants, antiplatelet agents. For peptic ulcer disease, severe reflux, active gastritis, cholelithiasis, with known intolerance FODMAP. Onions are rich in fructans and allergies to onions. Pregnant and breastfeeding women should coordinate any new eating rituals. If you have chronic kidney disease with potassium restriction, discuss the serving size in advance. If there is chronic diarrhea, SIBO, or severe bloating, start with very small portions or choose alternatives. Onions as a garnish, and not on an empty stomach. And certainly baked onions do not cancel out prescribed medications. Do not change therapy without approval, even if you feel better. A useful habit is to keep a small diary. Morning sugar measurements, if you have a glucometer. Pulse, pressure, well-being, dream. This helps to distinguish the real effect from chance and notice it in time. If the practice doesn't suit you, a short note, literally 3 lines, is better than memory by eye. In a month you will see what exactly has changed. Realistic expectations and signs, when to stop. What people most often note, for whom the practice was suitable. Feeling more balanced in the morning, warm launch of the stomach, less cravings for sweets at breakfast, a slightly more stable feeling of satiety after the first meal. Some people experience a mild benefit to bowel regularity due to the fiber. Sometimes a more even head by midday, less mood swings for the sugar swings. Who has it? Then the effect is neutral, and that's okay too. We differ greatly in gastrointestinal sensitivity by microbiota according to the original ration. What you definitely shouldn't expect is a sharp drop in sugar levels to normal within a week. This is not a pill, but an element of everyday life, which works in conjunction with other supports: sufficient water, habit of walking, vegetables and protein at every meal, sleep mode. When is it best to stop and discuss the situation? If heartburn gets worse, bloating, pain, if unusual symptoms appear related to digestion, if you notice instability of sugar levels while maintaining the same therapy, In such cases, do not continue by force. An alternative is to use baked onions, not on an empty stomach, and as a side dish for a protein lunch or dinner in small portions, monitoring tolerance. How to integrate it into your life so that the habit sticks. She needs a comfortable place in the routine. In the evening, put the other half in the refrigerator. In the morning, a glass of warm water, your half of a baked onion, breathing and silence 10 to 15 minutes, then a flat breakfast, egg, cottage, cheese, fish, or another protein dish, vegetables, whole wheat bread, porridge, to suit one's appetite. There should always be water on the table. Dehydration makes blood thicker, appetite is more. Capri, shears and sugar is less predictable. Add 20 or 30 minutes of walking a day. Break it up into 2 short walks. Learn to go to bed a little earlier. Sleep directly affects insulin sensitivity. All this is boring, but it is precisely in such simple supports that common sense lives. Baked onion is a small brick. Without a foundation, it won't hold up the wall. But in a finished wall, it is very useful. Think through the logistics. Keep the baking dish in a visible place so that the process takes minutes. It is convenient to bake in batches. 3 days, whole onions, cut crosswise and placed on a baking sheet. After cooling, store in a container. In the morning you take half, and the ritual has already begun. If the oven takes a long time to heat up, use a small frying pan grill with a lid and minimum heat. The task is the same, gentle heat and no browning. Think about failure scenarios. What will you do if you're visiting, on the road, at the sanatorium? Make a deal with yourself. If I don't have baked onions, I'll start the morning with warm water and a protein-rich breakfast without sweets. And in the evening, I'll cook the onion at home. This flexibility helps you stay on track and prevent routine from becoming stressful. Small tips on taste and quality. Choose onions without a strong varnish sheen on the skin. Too glossy a skin sometimes indicates storage in unfavorable conditions. A good bulb is heavy for its size, with a dry neck, no moldy smell. Before baking, you can prick the surface with a fork in several places. This will speed up the gentle steaming. If you're worried about extra onioniness in the fridge, store the halves in a glass container with a tight lid. A paper towel inside will absorb any condensation and protect the texture. Don't rush to accustom yourself to large portions. Most often, half an onion on an empty stomach is enough for people. And if you want, after 2 weeks, you can try a quarter in the afternoon before lunch. It's not the quantity that matters, and regularity and tolerance. Answers to frequently asked questions. Can I use red onions instead of onions? Can. Red onions contain more anthocyanins, but it is a little more delicate in structure. Bake the same way, the taste will be softer and sweeter. Is it possible to bake without the husk? Can, but not desirable. Husk, jacket, which retains juices and protects the upper layers, rich in flavonoids. Besides, onions without peeling dry out faster. Can I add oil? Salt, spices. For the morning on an empty stomach, there is no option. Oil and spices increase acidity, and the risk of reflux, and salt in the morning is a direct path to excess thirst and salt swings in blood pressure. Save the gastronomy for lunch. Baked onions as a side dish is a great idea, but that's a different scenario. What if I don't like the taste of onions? Try baking it a little longer at a lower temperature. The flavor will become more caramelized, soft. Or start with a small portion and not on an empty stomach, and for 15 to 20 minutes before breakfast. If it still doesn't work, don't force yourself. There are enough other soft steps in nutrition to support blood vessels and sugar. Is it possible to eat if you have gallstones? Carefully. Onions stimulate bile secretion in some people. If there are stones, only after talking to a doctor, and definitely not in large portions. Is it possible for diabetics? Can, but it is better to discuss the dosage and time of administration with your doctor. Baked onions themselves are not high in carbohydrates, but if you strictly count carbohydrates and you have gastrointestinal reactivity, start with a quarter and measure your sugar levels with a glucometer. How many courses should be taken per year? Comfortable rhythm, 30 days of admission, 2 to 3 week break. Repeat as needed and in consultation with your doctor. Why simple techniques are often more effective than complex ones. The power of baked onions is not in their power and infeasibility. Complex schemes are exhausting, demand expensive products, time and constant self-control. A simple habit lives longer. It does not cause resistance and does not conflict with everyday life. 5 minutes a day is a realistic format for months and years. But it is the duration that gives tangible results. Moderate but daily influence on microbiota, on the rhythm of nutrition, on vascular reactivity, adds up to a bigger picture. That's the whole point of old school, do a little, but do it consistently. How to understand that the habit works for you. Remember the criteria. In the morning, there is less craving for sweets and coffee to wake up, less brain fog throughout the day, more even appetite, fewer snacks. Stool is more regular. By the evening, my legs don't buzz like before. The numbers show more predictable sugar values. If you are on self-control, a narrower pressure corridor, all other things being equal. If you have 3 points from the list, you are on the right track. If nothing changes, but at the same time you sleep little, you drink little. Water, if you eat late and on the run, start with the basics. And leave the bow as an addition to the already strengthened foundation. On respecting limitations, no useful practice is worth your discomfort. If onions cause persistent gastrointestinal complaints, this is a sign that for you, not today. Do the work at other points. Water, dream, movement, dishes slower, a quieter breakfast. In a month, you can return to the idea with a fresh perspective. There are no must-have foods in nutrition. There are those that are suitable and those that are not suitable for you specifically. Summary and a soft call to action. As you can see, baked onions are not a magic pill or a replacement for treatment. It's affordable, a clear and generally well-tolerated way to add some antioxidants and prebiotics to your diet. Make your mornings smoother and help you stay on track for stability. He doesn't work alone. And in the team, with your plate, with walks, with water and with therapy prescribed by a doctor. It makes sense to try this practice who has no contraindications, those who are willing to observe themselves and who have patience. Take small steps, but every day. If you have any experience, good or bad, please share it in the comments. How do you cook baked onions? How do you fit it into your morning routine, and what did you notice after a month? Subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us make peace, honest and truly useful health news, without fear, without loud promises, with respect for your time and your path. Take care of yourself and your loved ones, and let every day be a little smoother, in the kitchen, in the head and in the heart.